And again, bad nitrogen. So I'm hoping every time we mow that, the nitrogen levels drop. It's going to be interesting, because obviously you mow stuff and the nitrogen or the fertilizer effect goes up. I'm wondering whether precision farming does that too. The little dirt track along the bottom of this field, I didn't add that back in, and that might be a yet. What?
Good news is that I always got one whole field that's growing.
Oh.
Bad news is I don't know how to feed the cows. So I will need you to do that tomorrow.
Yeah. So field on the left, I've not done anything with. It might be a field, it might be mat grass, but I've left it as is. Maybe I should consider, so this field up at the top here, also not done anything with, but we're having grass issues with the sheep in there. I might want to think about ploughing that field and treating it with lime and fertilizer when I plant grass, and possibly get a better potential yield. So this field actually, that was the other reason why the clover's so bad. The clover were grass fields default. So there was ploughing in grass, which added fertilizer, and the liquid fertilizer, or the liquid manure, which added more fertilizer, which is why they're up to 180. Now these are grass fields. Grass is desperate for lots of nitrogen, so good thing we're that's not devastating. Also, that field was not pre-planted with anything. Farming agency leaves that as a potential arable field, along with this one here, which we know all too well. And we're planting sunflowers because just sunflowers. Why not? I'm not planting canola this year, so I can go back up here. There's not really much to say about these fields. The one on the right I will be planting as sunflowers as well. As soon as our sunflower planting is done, and I might go and take over on that in a minute. It is 9:30. Okay. So yes, as far as stuff happening, as I said, we had a complete failure of the SSD in this PC. So I ordered new parts, which took a week to arrive. The SSD is upgraded from a 256 to a 1 gigabyte SSD, which means all my games load faster because I can now put them on the SSD rather than on the D drive, which is 2 gigabyte regular hard drive. Unfortunately, the power supply unit in the PC was also barely adequate for everything that was in it. So, potato harvest plant has stopped. So what I had to do was order a bigger power supply unit, which is why it took me a little bit longer to get everything done, because I had to upgrade the power supply to be adequate for a thing. Okay, so this is just a normal pasture, not a field. This here I planted grass, and again high pH. And somewhere in here there should be a class IH or case IH with a potato planter. So this is looking generally good. We've still got a good amount of fertilizer in this as well. And still got potatoes in it, so also good. And again, rather than using seed, we're using seed potatoes in this. Because the realistic seeder mod includes all of the seed types, including the ones that aren't in the standard game for when you're using maps that use special seed or extra crops. What was that about cows? Princess Osa is running a farm, and she finished all the mowing. I think we're doing Erlengrad, but she's finished all the mowing. Unfortunately, she doesn't know how to feed cows. So we need to get on that farm and help her with cow feeding. Because as you know, with Erlengrad, you get cows to start. This map, I'm not doing cows. So we do have the biggest potato planter, because I just like big potato planters. And it looks like we have to do this edge too. CD farmer says you've got to plant it all. So that's what we'll do. Also not using a big self-propelled seed harvester, so I don't have to worry about getting to the edge of the field and not having room to turn around. And I do have a bunch of the variable weights now. There's one on the Lindner. There's one on this tractor because I've been putting some heavy equipment on the back, so balancing out. It's been my little plough tractor, so kind of helps to have a small weight on the front. And the variable weights are kind of handy. So we can turn that off, and we can probably fill that all up. Yeah, now I mean the thing is it's not too bad if you're starting your map on base game. If you're starting with season, that's a major headache just to start up, because with seasons obviously there's no food, there's no stuff growing, so there's no grass available, there's no anything, and so that can be a problem. Okay, so I could plough and replant this. Is that gate open? Yes. Good. And also, realistic mod, we can unload. Even a potato plant can be unloaded. So I think I'm done with the case right now. So this is, yeah, this case Puma. It's about think I want to say about 220 horsepower. Whee! Let's have a look. 225 horsepower. So it's kind of the engine size I wanted to. What's the word for it? Augment the Fent and the Valtra that we already had, but as I said, we got rid of the Valtra, or we lost the Valtra. I don't have that mod access to that mod anymore. I also don't have access to the Land Rover Defender mod I was using, so we've switched to the AFM Santana versions. Wait for the pickup. Exactly. And this is a mod case, IH. But I figured I have not played any. I don't think I even had a. Oh no, I used a 1455 XL, the old. Tractor in FS19. I used one of those on Lawfolds for a very brief time, but outside of that I haven't used any modern case equipment. Even the harvester, I used the tiny one that was in the base FS19. I think the only other class I need to, or I haven't used, or not class, manufacturer, is John Deere in a stream. But I'm using that on my Chellington playthrough. Anyway, that's that done. And we can probably close that window. I could have put a front loader on this, but I decided not to. This is generally going to be a fieldwork tractor, so we'll be doing our potato harvests and our beet harvests with it. Although I think the new potato equipment is a lot smaller, so I'm envisaging using the Valtra for that in conjunction with the case. And we can haul with the big tractors, because haulage is heavy. Okay. So we're going to put our motorised equipment in here. It's a slightly bigger shed. I'm keeping the Lindner and the three smallest tractors out for now. Although once we're done with all the heavy digging, we may come back and revisit what lives in that shed. Maybe move the truck around to here. We have potato pallets and liquid things. So yeah, there's our potato seed pallets, and I'm going to cheat, because why not? We'll just throw that up in the air. We'll lift that up off the ground and just throw it in here. There we go. That's bad. There. I knew I could figure it out somehow. And then we'll get the half pallet loaded in there. So yeah, from now onwards, I have to buy the seeds that I want to plant. And I have to unload the seeder once I'm done planting the stuff. So as I said, we're going to have a lot of clover and a lot of grass seed left over, just because you only plant it once. Just stick this under the shelter. That'll do fine. I'll turn that off. Super strength is off. And that's our Land Rover. And the thing I do like about this Land Rover is its right-hand drive, and when I get out, I'm on the driver's side. So yay. Low fuel on the case. As I said, I artificially aged a bunch of vehicles. I did this one, I probably didn't have to. But things like the Class and the Challenger had sort of 70-80 hours on them. So I took the number of hours that I'd already used them for and added 75, because as I said, there was a lot of field prep work being done. I had 3 plows and 2 manure spreaders, and just everything. You appear to be done. You appear to be, well, that was good timing. Engine, that would be a good start. That looks like potentially I'm going to need 2 headlands around the edge of this. First things first, we need more sunflower seeds. Oh, we already have weeds. What's this one doing? But as I said, fertilizer use on this is really low because of everything that we did so far. Okay, that's loading. And it's loading from the rear pallet, which is good. Back, do that. So it's not exactly a big planter. I think it's, in general, 1600 litres is better than when we were using the Caverland one, which had, what, 600 litres of seed and 12 metres wide or something. Ridiculous, sort of. Why aren't we planting? Because it's not turned on. Okay, there you go. I think right now I will run around the headlands because worker can't do that. So yeah, I did start the stream early today and I will be finishing early today as well. Tomorrow is our wedding anniversary, so we're going out to eat for lunch today. Princess Osa's going to be going to her little brother's birthday party. So she's leaving around 11:30ish. So I need to be done streaming and ready to go at that point. Okay, so sunflowers, kind of like clover, do not need a lot of nitrogen, which is why we are barely eating into our fertilizer at this point. It's only putting down what we need. If I hadn't bothered with liquid manure, we would be going through this at quite a rate. Because it needs to get it up to sort of 80 and it starts at 0. Now, over the course of this playthrough, we're going to be sciencing how effective oilseed radish is for nitrogen addition, and I'm probably going to have to plan ahead since sunflowers require so little in the way of nitrogen. I am not going to want to be putting nitrogen or extra nitrogen down on fields I plan to put in sunflowers next year. I've discussed, I basically figured that if I have 0 nitrogen in the ground, I can put in, I could put digestate in, and that pretty much puts me borderline exactly what sunflowers need, so I don't want to be adding anything else. So if after the harvest my ground has 100 litres per hectare of nitrogen in it, whatever it is, kilograms per hectare of nitrogen in it, then I either want to avoid planting sunflowers in that field, but no matter what, I definitely want to avoid adding digestate or oilseed radish to the field, because that will push me over the top and my sunflower yield will be significantly worse because of that. There's best, and then there's, if you go over best, you get worse yield. If you go under best, you get worse yield. Ooh, we're struggling with this one. But it doesn't, you'll notice I'm not using GPS, and it doesn't matter how inaccurate I am at this point, because we're not losing seed on the 2 rows on the edge of the planter, and we're not losing fertilizer anywhere when we're going over stuff. So it's going to make things a little bit cheaper, or at least consumable usage cheaper. Especially since we do factor in using digestate on the farm. Although again, that's all gone. We had quite a lot of it. And so we're going to have to build up stocks of digestate over the coming year. And that's one of the reasons I'm growing grass and I'm growing clover, which are 2 different food sources for sheep, or food requirements for sheep, so we need to keep that in mind. Most of the time I'm going to be silaging both, but the sheep do need grass or hay pellets, and I've got the the straw harvest add-on, or the add-on straw harvest, whatever it's called. So we can buy the pellet making stuff and make straw pellets and hay pellets and other pellets. So we might get into that. Of course, again, it's something I originally had in this playthrough and then dropped because it seemed to be causing issues. Or at least I thought it might have been the cause of some of my issues. we'll figure that out, because I did want to do pelleting, but again, that's a costly setup. So I decided it was probably something we were going to do much later, so I didn't mind removing the mod at that time. But since the sheep kind of like hay pellets, that might be a thing I want to look at, especially since over the winter that's one of the food sources. If we go back to sheep, see the silage, grass silage, clover silage, just silage. So long as we've got some silage bales knocking around, we're good. Hay, so long as we've got clover hay, we're not doing alfalfa, but we could have hay or clover hay. Again, we can make that, that's not a problem. Fresh grass, clover, I'm not sure that clover rots, so we might be able to get away with some clover bales. I think what we're going to end up doing is a lot of well, we'll plant this, we'll make a bale, and we'll see what happens to it over the course of time, and if it doesn't go away, then clover may be a food source for the sheep in the winter. Now, I'm trying to rely on the grass, but it's not growing fast enough in that top field. So I might need to run down to the store and buy some more bales before too much longer. I'm going to do the island, because that was what I was planning to do when I got sidetracked by that bit. And we're also going to have to buy a tedder, because if we want to make hay now, you have to ted grass 3 times. I'm assuming clover and alfalfa might have similar needs, but not played with those before, so there'll be something new, I guess. I don't know why there's a gap there, but there is, so maybe some flowers. Taylor, good day and welcome to Saturday stream. Stick that back on a helper for a minute. We can go and check what's at the store. So I can buy square bales of hay, buy round bales of silage. Why have I got a square bale of silage? Where did that come from? That's strange. I don't know what the square bale of silage is all about, but I've got one. Oh, I generated it. Okay, so I've got round bale silage, round bale straw, round bale of hay. We've got clover silage. I've already bought some of that. I'm going to need to buy some more. Grass silage, maize silage, alpha silage, round bale of CCM, round bale of horse silage and horse hay. So what do the sheep actually need here? Clover, fresh maize, hay pellets or grass? Don't think I can buy any of those. No, I can't buy any of those. All I can buy is hay, straw, and silage. So that's a bit of a problem when it comes to feeding the sheep. Probably going to get a loading wagon as well. Just because I'm pretty certain that will come in very, very useful for us.